Be a basketball NBA prediction. I'm not going to do the Houston Rockets versus the Golden State Warriors just quite yet because I got to see by the third or the fourth quarter what's going to happen. And then tomorrow morning, before I head on to jury duty, I can make that video the same fashion. Now you may not be used to me making these videos while walking. I know it's kind of out of place, but ain't nothing I can do about the video quality until jury duty is officially over. I can get into a lot of trouble for trying to do videos outside the courthouse, which is not good because, the police can arrest you. So you got to bear with me. You got like 4 more boring ass days of that bullshit. And then once that crap's over with, we can get back to kicking ass and taking names and things of that nature. But right now, I can give you the predictions on the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Boston Celtics. Now, this series, however, is going to be very competitive. I mean, Milwaukee is a team that is a force to be reckoned with. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they're physical. And you saw them destroy the Detroit Pistons in the first round. It wasn't even competitive. It wasn't even a fair basketball game. They just tore through them. Milwaukee is known for their defense, but they're also known for their offense. They can play 4 quarters of a basketball game. They're not afraid to play offense. They're not afraid to play defense. They're not afraid to play half and half. If this game was to go into overtime, they're not going to crack under pressure. It could be 2 overtimes, 3 overtimes. Hell, you can go as far as to say 4 overtimes, and they will not crack under pressure. Now, they got the number 1 seed in the East for a reason. Now, if there's any team in the East that can come out of the East and potentially go to the NBA Finals, it's this team. This has the makings of a championship franchise, a dynasty. Now, I know some people are going to say now you're just jumping to conclusions way too early, headed into the second round. Well, I predict this series might end in 5 or 6 games, and I'll tell you why. They've played Boston before in the season, and they've actually beat Boston twice in the season. And I don't think they're going to concern themselves with Kyrie Irving trying to score 20, 30, 40 points. They're going to be able to contain, they're going to stop the team. So if they're not able to stop Kyrie Irving, they'll stop the team. And they've already figured out he's just a one superstar, one man show. Now there's players on Boston, but we'll get to Boston. Milwaukee seems like the team that you don't fall asleep on. They won the first round and they advanced to the second round. And the last time we seen Milwaukee do something like this was probably back when Ray Allen was playing on this team, and that was like a decade and a half ago. And this team may have stars, no superstars, but it's okay. I don't think Milwaukee cares if they have stars and no superstars. This is a team that's gonna surprise you. The reason why I say it might end in 5 or in 6 games is because I expect the first game Milwaukee to take it. I expect Boston to try to take game 2 from Milwaukee, and I expect Milwaukee to come into Boston and either try to take either game 3 or 4, and then we're probably going to have a series tied for, 2-2, which somewhere in game 5 or in game 6, we're going to see Milwaukee overtake the series. Now, if we get a game 7, it'll come in a circumstance if Boston can somehow win the first game in Milwaukee, which we'll get to Boston. Now, Boston have their share of problems. They have injuries. Their center is playing very well. Kyrie Irving is playing hurt in this series. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it, but he's playing hurt. And if what you hear about the rumors is true that he want to go to LA and play with LeBron James, that might be one of his reasons for trying to win this series, to prove that he's not thinking about that. Now, Boston won their series against Indiana. They won 4 games easily. Boston is going to have a challenge because it ain't going to be a walk in the park. You're not just going to be able to, come into Milwaukee games 1 and 2 and just dominate the series like you did Indiana. Here, you're going to have to play some offense, some defense. You're going to have to play 4 quarters. You're going to have to move the basketball around. And you're going to have to think when it comes to halftime, what do you want to do with Milwaukee? Because Milwaukee is like a spinning image of an East version of the Golden State Warriors. This is a young core. They're young. They're hungry. They're playoff bound, and they're looking to make a statement. And what better statement there is to knock off the Celtics in the second round and advance to the third round of the playoffs, which is the Eastern Conference semifinals. And this is why I make a bold prediction. I predict that Boston will lose in 5 to 6 games of this series, and Milwaukee will advance to the third round of the NBA playoffs of the Eastern Conference semifinals and take on either the 76ers or the Raptors. And the reason why I say it like that is because either the Bucks or the Sixers, in my other videos, one of those are coming out of the East and are going head to the finals. And if any team can really definitively take on a Golden State Warriors team in 7 games, and don't matter if it's 1 overtime, 2 overtimes, 3 overtimes, or 4 overtimes, it's those Milwaukee Bucks. Whenever time the Bucks and the Warriors play, what always happens? They beat the crap out of the Warriors. They're able to contest shots. They force Steve Kerr to call timeout 7 to 8 times. He gets red in the face. And the only team in the East that I can think of that really is a threat to the Warriors is them Bucks. As for Boston, Boston is playing injured. Now, Milwaukee got some injuries too, but what you have to understand is they're a young team. Boston is a young team because of Kyrie Irving's success with winning a championship with LeBron. But the problem is with Boston is their game is up and down. And you see, in order for Boston to win this series, Boston would have to win it in 7 games. That's the only way I see Boston come out of the second round and into the East of the third round is to win all 7 games. If Boston won this series, they got to take it in 7 games. And Kyrie Irving got to play in all these games and score 30 or 40 points. He can't have no more of these up and down games where 1 minute he plays good, next minute he disappears. 1 minute he disappears, next minute he plays good. He can't have no more of them type of games because you're going against the Bucks, and the Bucks are looking for Boston to make mistakes. They're looking for the opportunity to take this team out. Because Milwaukee wants to prove that it's a superpower in the East. Cleveland Cavaliers ain't the super team no more. Boston is not the superpower team in the East no more. It's teams like Toronto, Philly, and Milwaukee. And this second round matchup is going to prove who's going to the third round. So if Boston want to win this series, they got to take it in 7 games. If Milwaukee wants to win, they got to end it in 5 or in 6 games and make a big statement. All they have to do is get past this team in the second round and get to the third round, beat whoever they face in the third round. They're going to the NBA Finals. That's all there is to it. Boston got to win 7 games. That's it for Boston. It's either you win this series or nothing at all. So that's my prediction. Peace.